des choses, non. Oui, moi je vais faire un peu plus. Parce que je ne connais pas du tout Istanbul, mais là je vais en profiter. Et si j'ai quelques premiers jours seulement. Peut-être baigner. Puis voir un peu un axe ou deux avec une communication qui pourrait intéresser. Tu as raison. Et puis, est-ce que tu rencontres
nous restons jusqu'au 5.
Jusqu'au 5, pareil.
Nous n'avons pas le... Voilà, elle est là. Ok.
Tel comme artiste, tu veux l'intitulé de...
Non,
ça va être ça.
We can open the session. Yeah? My name is Chantal Lebrumont. I manage an association, French association about multilingualism in the world. And now we are a workshop about multilingualism and diaspora. Panels here is Miss May Abdallah, professor in Lebanon, in Beirut, specialist of diaspora and ICT with in diaspora utilization. She will talk for 20 minutes about, and after you can ask questions if you want, in English or in French if you want, or in Arabic. After we will have Farid Toumi. It's Moroccan people. His workshop is about practices and uses of ICT by Berbers or Amazigh people. Farid Toumi will talk about 20 minutes too. And third, we will have Anne-Marie Lolland about a book about languages in the multi-stakeholder domains and in ICT. First, Ms. May Abdallah.
Okay, merci, thank you. We can begin. So I present myself from Lebanese University, working on medias and technologies. I have published many books in Arabic, okay, one book in French. I have teaching for many years in Lebanese University. I will talk today about the diaspora and internet. And we know today we have many diasporas coming, many refugees and many displaced people coming from other countries to other. So the internet now and the communication, e-communication is beginning to be very important for them to communicate, etc. But the question, I am talking about traditional diasporas, some theoretical references, the new role played by the electronic mediation, Lebanese diaspora and the digital Syrian diaspora as examples, very different examples for diasporas. And the role, of course, of the e-communication. The important terms are always, today these terms we use in this kind of conferences on internationalization, cultural imperialism, soap drama, national, etc., etc. We saw it everywhere. The keywords of my presentation is post-memory, digital diaspora, queer diaspora, emplacement displacement, intersectionality, transnational flows, cultural memory, hybrid cultures, and diaspora law. To begin, the diaspora, talking about the traditional flows, the work on diasporas have emerged since the end of the 1980s in the Anglophone academic world as one of the leading laboratories from which are identified social cultural transformation that produce the logic of globalization. So, according to this view, diasporas, for their content cultural negotiation, are in many ways emblematic of a world where cultural identities are constantly reinvented under the force of transnational flows. Coinciding with the rise in power of the internet, the new attention to the issue of diaspora has led, since the second half of the 1990s, the development of a literature increasingly important, dealing with complex relationships that forge these populations with the information technology, the ICT. What are the ICTs of diasporas, and how are they changing the conditions of life of expatriates or immigrants or refugees people all over the world, and creating new issues for them? This is my essential question. So theoretical, some theoretical benchmarks and some definitions. What is diaspora studies? It's an academic field established in the late 20th century to study dispersed ethnic populations, which are often termed diaspora peoples. The usage of the term diaspora carries the connotation of forced resettlement due to expulsion, slavery, racism, or war, especially nationalist conflict, like donc Syrian. But, for example, diaspora, Lebanese diaspora, they went for war because of war, especially, and because of war inside and running away from, always they are running away from the country. Maybe it can be a cold war, not a real war, like it is in Lebanon. Now we have a cold war, but there is no way to live. The concept of diaspora, it's difficult to live. Okay. The concept of diaspora is paradoxical. Used for decades to describe a certain type of migration experience, characterized above all by the idea of preservation and continuity of a culture and identity despite the dispersion, it came to the dawn of the 1990s to designate all its opposites. The advent of hybrid cultures and identities placed more under the sign of that mixture of continuity. What is a digital diaspora? It's an electronic migrant community whose interactions are made possible through new technologies of communication. Definitely by Everett and by Axel Brinkerhoff. Historical, the emergence of digital diasporas occurred in tandem with the development of access to online public content and mobile phones. It began. And however, the widespread growth of social networking platform over the last 10 years has resulted in different kind of diasporic connectivity, one that is facilitated first and foremost via the internet. Now more and more via the internet. What is the virtual world so created via the internet and other new technology is ideally suited for connecting diasporas at the local and global level. It provides a forum to exchange ideas, debate, mobilize opinion, as well as support friendship, acceptance between strangers, all of which aids in the cultivation of digital diasporas. Research suggests that diasporas often use Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn to build online communities that support integration in the host country, thus helping to fill the social void in participants' offline life. The new role played, uniting relation with family, work abroad, returns to come back to the relation with the country, reuniting the family in home country, and there is a financial, of course, role. So we see we use it for money, for send money, for connecting, for many purposes. Politics, literature, food, friends, music, entertainment, family are all used in digital, by digital diaspora. Online discussion topics are those. So we should consider the use of ICT by migrants in continuity while taking into account the changes brought about by the evolution of the technical offer. Dominique Passé made a research on the use of the phone by immigrants. It's an example. Immigrant families in France from the Maghreb and Black Africa. You must know. Okay. The study confirmed the interest of the phone to fill the missing that represents the family left. This work also shows that prepaid cards available from the second half of the 1990s have the great advantage to significantly reduce call costs. The phone is seen as a social glue for migrants. The development of new technology or better access to them through lower faces was accompanied naturally by an improvement of communication within groups, especially families dispersed. This is probably too much emphasis on technical and ignore the context in which social interactions occur that it facilitates. This is particularly to forget too quickly that this group are traversed by logics of domination that do not abolish by magic new techniques, quite the contrary. I will explain this. So the advent of the internet now offers those migrants wishing to influence politics of their country of origin able to avoid the most closed borders. The potential role of the web is not without limits. One of the most enthusiastic analysts in this area is that of the anthropologist Victoria Bernal, who focused on how Eritrean, for example, diaspora has made use of the web to participate in the political life of their country. This is what Lebanese do, we will see. Interestingly, the political activities of Eritreans out of and inside the country meet in part, according to the author, they suffer in their country of residence of same isolation, invisibility, as well as discrimination. So we have the African situated in France, and we have the Lebanese diaspora, many kind of African, because I talk about Eritrean. So Lebanese diaspora are like this. It's essentially they are making money and like this, and they take profit essentially of the internet to send money and and they keep connected with the country. They are big total like this, 12,000, the big total of them, but they are these numbers from internet. I am not, and this is the source. I hope it's. I think it's real. So It's also almost an uncontested truth that every Lebanese household has been touched by migration. Yes, in every family, somebody migrates. Every family, every house. I mean, my family and all family. Be it a family member or relative or a friend, someone left. So although the number of Lebanese immigrants may not be sizable, we say 4, 6, we say 10, we say 12. It's not real. I don't know the real number. But we know that it's very, very quickly increasing. Their presence in the countries of migration was and continues to be visible because they play a role where they go. And their impact on the Lebanese political, economic, and cultural life has been and continues to be significant. They keep relation with the country. And they have influence on the country, on Lebanon. So political networking in the form of long-distance nationalism or homeland politics diaspora communities are not only interested in immigrant politics, which affect their life in the host country, but also in homeland politics. So they keep interested by homeland politics. They remain interested and involved in the political situation and development of their homeland through what has been called as transnational political practices or labeled as long-distance nationalism or diaspora nationalism. But we have a different, these are Lebanese, they are going, they have the choice to leave. But the Syrian people and other refugees didn't have the choice to leave. They are forced to leave. They can't stay. So, and there are multiple, Iraqi, Syrian, and all other places. So they are searching for a new hope, and they are going to other countries and staying like they want to be accepted like it's their country. So they use, of course, in the new country, they keep in touch with the country, but they are connecting with each other in the new country. The role of Syrian diaspora activists has been identified as a key to both supporting and shaping the world's image of the Syrian uprising. So, since the beginning of the political movement in Syria and even before the start of the mass displacement, thousands of Syrians have left their country to escape the oppression of the regime and the persecution against activists. While many of these activists were not wanted by the security force, they chose to be on the safe side and left. Some of those who left believed that the toppling of the government would happen in a matter of days or weeks. They thought they will come back, but the war continue. That, however, did not happen, and their exile has persisted. They are now facing a new tragedy. Those who left no longer have the choice to return, and they are no longer able to meet their daily living needs in their host country. So they must accept. They are all over the world. These Arab diaspora all over the world. So this is how the Syrian diaspora. The Lebanese, okay, they are settling, etc. But the Syrian diaspora don't have refugees, don't have home. Some of them, they have money, okay. But it's not their country. They try to make restaurant, to make money in the other country, to continue their life. But the Syrian diaspora is like this. No refugee, no home, nothing. So, this is their home. And this is their home. And this is their life. So, one of the miracles of this revolution between Guinea, is that the Syrian diaspora is being brought together through the internet. It's true. Outraged by the regime's action, bloggers, netizens, took it upon themselves to provide news and information while the foreign media has been expelled shortly after the start of the uprising. As the death toll mounted, ordinary citizens got involved, becoming activists and journalists, and the citizen journalists themselves. At the same time, documenting what was happening as journalists would have done, but from the perspective of those who are clearly committed. Already seen during the Tunisian and Egyptian revolution, this trend is much more pronounced in Syria. Activism and reporting has become one. And important. Simultaneous citizens, activists, reporters use their imagination to get the information out. Video is filmed with mobile phones and sent straight to video streaming websites. Or it is filmed with video cameras, and the video files are copied onto USB flash drives and passed from hand to hand until they can finally be posted online. Much use is made of Skype and Mumble. Syrians who live the near border use Lebanese or Turkish servers to access the internet or mobile phone network and thereby escape from control. As the regime reinforces its censorship, the media center created by local coordination committees has formed a network of contributors throughout the country to help disseminate information. They have managed to post videos directly on YouTube, above all via LCC Syria TV, and have helped to transmit content to foreign media. Other networks, such as Sham News Network and Awad, have contributed to circulate information. So members of the Syrian diaspora play a key role in relaying information to journalists and politicians in the countries where they live. Human rights activists throughout the world have also joined this chain of international solidarity. Participative initiatives such as Syria Tracker are trying to document the crimes being committed in Syria. So conclusion, a new age of diaspora, the internet is a communication medium of choice, despite all its limitations for migrants and refugees. The diaspora studies show first that contrary to a widespread view that want each new tool replacing the previous oldest, these technologies meet differentiated practices that evolve over time. They form a set of resources complementary to communicate with distant relatives. Thus, when the letters were until the early 19th, the main support to share the humdrum of daily life, the phone was reserved for special occasions such as birthday, Christmas, New Year. When the phone was in use, thanks to prepaid card, it became a commonplace, and the letter turned into a way to share news, particularly sensitive and complex. And when the email appeared, the letters continued to have role left to be sent as attachment. All in all, the virtual world will play an increasingly significant role in our representation of diaspora life. The trick for us as scholars and theorists is to recognize that this continuously developing ethnographic field requires that we reinvent our disciplinary procedure and indeed our mode of knowledge production. Thank you for your patience. Thank you very much.
I have the great pleasure to let May Abdallah, whose speech was very clear and very well documented. And I will add some experience from my own experience with Latin America diaspora. In Latin America, especially Mexican people who are going to the States, they use ICT from a long time with new procedures, not only to conserve family links, but also to preserve traditional culture and very secret rights. So I think, knowing also what happens in Africa, that everywhere in the world, diaspora is invented new procedure and new role and use of ICT. So thank you. And now I give the floor to Farid Toumi from Morocco.
So, thank you. Good morning. To present myself, I'm Farid Toumi, researcher from the University of Agadir in Morocco. I will treat during the time, this 20 time, the use of and gratification of the Berbers and the Amazigh through information communication technologies. It is a case study about the content analysis of forums. First point, it is during the 211 North Africa and the Arab world were shaken by strong contest movements, and these uprising movements have spread rapidly in North Africa and in different Arab countries. These events were accompanied by a media discourse emphasizing the role occupied by the information communication technologies, ICT, in triggering these revolutions. The web was seen during this period as a platform for interaction, exchange, and coordination of actions. The ICT in general and online social network in particular have, according to many intellectuals and media, played an important role in the emergence of the Tunisian and Egyptian revolution and other protest movements. Digital technology is at the origin of socio-political changes in the Arab world. Many publications about this theme. The one we published with Mr. Dagmi Fathallah et Mr. Amsidder sont les médias font-ils les révolutions chez l'Harmattan. These popular mobilization via the net have also paved the way for the re-emergence of an identity discourse around the Berber or the Amazigh issue, but previously annihilated military, like the Black Spring in Kabylie in 2001, and the role played by the Amazigh activists during the Arab Spring. The Maghreb public space, if we use the expression of Moussaoui, becomes Berber. It was in the beginning of this popular uprising of 2011 that Berbers claim have known a new rise. The Tunisian Association of Amazigh Culture has emerged, something which was unthinkable under the ex-Tunisian President Ben Ali. And in Libya, the Amazigh National Congress in 2011 requires the integration of the Amazigh dimension in the constitution. And Morocco is no exception, because during the movement of the 20th February 2011 that accompanied the Arab Spring in Tunisia, Libya, and Egypt, the Amazigh movement in Morocco joined the protest marches with flags and banners written in Tifinagh. The new constitution provides, among other, official recognition of the Amazigh language, which is spoken by nearly 40% of Moroccan. And the link between these protests and revolts is digital. The practice and use of ICT is believed to be the origin of the different springs that North Africa has known, Arab Spring and Berber Spring. It is from these different socio-political and digital contexts that we analyzed the role played by ICT in mobilizing around the Amazigh issue, and that on the sidelines of the Arab Spring. Can we see in this ICT a vector of mobilization, or or is it a visible part of the iceberg? We want to project light on the vector of this mobilization through an analysis, a content analysis of forums, Bladinet and Schluch.com. Few guides line about the Berber. The Berbers are present in a dozen countries, nearly 5 million square kilometers with nearly 40 people. However, due to the absence of reliable data or statistics, it is difficult to assess the exact number of the speaker of the Berber language. The Berber language is distributed discontinuously across North Africa, from Egypt to Morocco, through Libya, Tunisia, Nigeria, Algeria, Mali, and Mauritania. The main feature is the fragmentation of this language in many dialects. Berber is therefore not a standardized language for several reasons. First, the Berbers are spread over large geographic territories. Then Berbers have historically suffered from the invasion that have spread them and at the same time prevented them from a Berber state. And finally, the Berbers are within the same country, spread over separate territories, constituting isolated communities. Concerning the origin of the word Berber, it derives from the Greek barbarwa, retained by Romans in Barbaris, and then recovered by the Arabs in the Barbarian, al-Barabera, and finally by the French with the Berber. The term designates the people that we do not understand the language, this is to say foreigner. The Berber call themselves Imaziren in plural, and Amazigh in the singular. For the word Tamazight, it designates the language, and Tamzgha designates the territory to which Berbers belong. In this context, the Maghreb states are considered constitutionally as Arab and Muslim, and language policy implemented by the different government is the Arabization. The linguistic unification must complete the construction of the nation. Therefore, the Berber movement was regarded with suspicion, especially in Morocco, because of it is associated to colonialism because of the Berber decree. The transmission of the cultural and Berber heritage has been confined to an oral tradition with a lot of risks, such as the mere disappearance of some Berber dialects spoken in some regions, Judéo-Berber notamment. That's only from the mids of 90s that there is a shy Berber presence on radio and TV airwaves, and the prevailing model is that of a state nation, État-nation, centralizing and homogeneous, and that didn't give too much space for regional identities. From the 90s to nowadays, this media had a character of instruments at the bedside of a threatened culture. And our survey on media and minority in Morocco in 2009 corroborates this report with regional media, where regional media with strong identity connotations were not a great success, but they were kept. Strategies to circumvent these official channels have become possible with the development of the ICT and the internet. The Amazigh diaspora has given a new life to the quest for the Berbers' recognition and identity. Has the Berber Spring hid a Berber? Has the Arab Spring hid a Berber Spring, as confirmed by some media? And what are the characteristics and the forms of this mobilization by the web? To answer this question, we have focused our analysis on content analysis of the forums that bring together the diaspora and the local residents. The analysis of the corpus concerned three themes that are retained: politics, identity, and the figureheads of the Berber movements. For the first theme, the policy, the analysis of the corpus shows that there is that politics and commitments are strongly present in the exchanges between participants. We note an expository style with the predomination of a personal pronoun I, reflecting the claim of the participant with a reference universe that concerns North Africa, Mediterranean, and Africa. The main lesson that we can draw from this universe of reference is that the policy claim of the Berber is closely linked to a territory which re-emerged with the speech about Tamzgha, that is to say the land or the Berber nation. Exchanges are also marked by themes about politics and society in general, with nearly 80 occurrences spread over requests for law, justice, and politics. It should be emphasized that the concept of mobilization or call for protests as part of the Arab Spring is almost absent in the corpus analyzed. The forum participants are saddened by the fate of the Libyan Amazigh, ever led by Gaddafi during the events of the Arab Spring. In this sense, about 33 occurrences highlights the discrimination from which they have suffered in Libya, and the anti-Amazigh speech of Gaddafi for whom Amazigh no longer exist. The result obtained at the end of this content analysis shows that no mobilization across the Maghreb or call to protest has been launched on the forum on the forums. The thesis of the web as a medium or catalyst for the Amazigh political demand remains fragile. As far as the second theme is concerned, the Berber identity is indicated by the reference to a holy trinity of the Berbers, Tamzgha, that is to say the earth, Tamazight, language, and the man, l'homme, H majuscule, and the first theme that we analyzed is the theme of Tamzgha, that is to say the land. The content analysis of this theme of Amazigh identity is rich of information because it corroborates the results obtained in the analysis of the political dimension. First, the discourse of the participant is an argumentative with clear claims. Then the Amazigh identity is marked by the concept of country and territories. Africa totals 422 hits. This result confirms the observed trend for some years now. The claim of Berber identity takes a desire for unity on North Africa. Language and culture are the backbone that can unite Africa or Tamzgha. Finally, to attach their identity to a definite geographical territory is a major concern for the participant in forum, and this concern is supported by a multitude of anthropology and history works, including those of Camp, that supports the diversity of origins and the composite nature of the Berber, that is due to the fragmentation of the Maghreb under colonial actions of different civilizations. This thesis is clearly adopted in the forum. As far as Tamazight, c'est-à-dire language is concerned, the valuation of the Amazigh identity through language has gained importance with active Berber diaspora abroad, particularly in France, and has been able to resurrect some lost words like asul, that is to say hello, or tanmirt for thank you. The various components of the diaspora with their associations have been working in the direction of standardization and a codification of the Amazigh language from the Tifinagh, that is to say Imushar Tuareg alphabet. These characters adopted by Amazigh in the middle of the second millennium before Christ. The analysis of this variable in our corpus shows that people in their exchanges adopt an argumentative style with a domination of use of the use pronoun I or we, which is a sign of flourishing claim. This speech is still firmly rooted in geographical and territorial space. North Africa with accounts 621 occurrences in the analyzed corpus. This ensuring highlights the extent of the Amazighophone area, and some participants bring in support linguistic maps of North Africa. And far from the confrontation Arab versus Berber or Latin versus Berber, the corpus showcases a learning dimension of Berber with its variant Tashlihit, Terifit, Tamazight, and Kabil. The term language totals more than 190 occurrences, focusing on pronunciation rules, translation, the meaning of words, and borrowing from Arabic language. It is also worth to say that the Tifinagh alphabet, the Berber alphabet, the spread head of the Berberists and the diaspora, is absent from the corpus analyzed. Beyond the militancy aspect of the Berberist elite, forum analyzed point to what Galland stresses, that the very notion of the Berber language encompassing, englobing all local varieties, remains foreign to the mass of the speakers. This observation was done by Galland in 1988, and this observation is even more true in 2014, because, for example, only 15% of Moroccan students have access to Tifinagh. Berber is transcribed in the forums analyzed in Latin letters and not in Arabic or Tifinagh alphabet. And finally, the Ethnonomes as identity markers. This analysis of this variable shows that the participants in forum are not very strict about the usage of Ethnonomes Amazigh or Berber as strong marker of identity. The ethnonym Amazigh totals 109 occurrences, while the ethnonym Berber totals 126 occurrences. The difference is not statistically significant. The last team analyzed is the figureheads of the Berber. Internet exchanges about the iconic figures show that, contrary to what one could expect, a commitment to recent figures and rather people. All the talk focused on the theme of entertainment, with reference either to some singers or some international sports figures. Some Amazigh figures of the armed struggle movement ensured in the past, like Abdelkrim al-Khattabi, symbol of political dissident. Then came in second place some figures in history, Berber history, like the Berber king Massinissa or Axel. The reference to certain figures of intellectuals who have become powerful symbol of the Berber identity struggle, like Lounis Majjoub and Matoub and Al-Mamri Mouloud, both Algerian, remains non-existent on the forum analyzed. To conclude, the result lead us to relativize the role of the forums in the mobilization of Amazigh to protest. And how can we explain this phenomenon of active participation of the Amazigh in the protest movements of 2011? First, we think that practices and uses of the ICT in the Maghreb are rooted essentially in urban areas. And there is a regional digital gap or divide. How in this context can we claim that the internet has mobilization virtues? Further analysis about the Amazigh issue in North Africa and the world shows that the mobilization dates before the breakthrough of ICT. I have to say briefly that political activism around the Amazigh issue was born in 1965 by diaspora of Agro Imazighen, whose ultimate goal was to defend the cause of the Amazigh and its particularities. It's clear to say that we're looking for teaching the Berbers that they are, I cite, they're neither Romans nor Arab, but Imazighen. That is to say, noblemen, and North Africa or Berberi is their only homeland, that their language is not a dialect which they have to be ashamed of, and they finally form with all the Berbers the heirs of the Numidian noble tradition. And thank you to respect time.
I think this speech is a good example of what a good academic research brings about journalistic opinion or political propaganda. And as we can listen, the revolution and the progress of Berber cause is not linked with ICT, but it's not absolutely all behind the field. So thank you very much. I think we have no many time, but could you react to this speech? Have you something, some surprise, some ideas?
Yes, yes. You have a study and result of a study. How did you make this study? How did you? Because I didn't really repair the relation between this the Amazigh like words and their how you interpret and how you analyze them. So it was the repetition of the word, or it was the meaning in the context of the word inside using the chatting, or how? Can you explain for us?
Okay. This is a good question. I have skipped one point, that is the methodology, in order to respect the time that is 20 minutes. For the methodology used for the analysis, it concerned two forums that are linked to the Amazigh or the Berber local residents, either in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and including the diaspora. The diaspora is Berber diaspora is present in France, Canada, and other countries. There are many exchanges about the Berber issue. So I've targeted these forums and analyzed the whole corpus, which is an enormous corpus, about let's say 100 pages.
Wow.
Then used
In different countries,
yes.
and there is no differences.
There's some question.
Okay.
It works? Yes. I have just one question about the May exposition. Because you talk about Skype for using for people, but Mumble, what is Mumble? You in Europe you don't know what is Mumble. It's like Skype?
It's used by, especially by Syrian people. Yes, it's, but it's not. It's especially used in this region of. Yes, it's not known like as other like LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, but it's most little bit regional.
Okay, and people type with
Yes.
Arabic
Yes.
languages?
Yes.
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 Ah,
They use
interesting.
Arabic on it. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Other question?
Merci. My name is Louis Pouzin. I would like to ask a perhaps too broad a question to Farid. I understood that the Berber population is in a very old culture, very old language, and that the population itself has not been always very well treated by the dominant other populations. I understand that they have a lot of varieties of languages, a lot of variety of dialects. Second, that they don't look for leaders. They prefer to remain more or less independent, or at least related locally to their territory, to their people, to their culture. On the other hand, they're not either activists or trying to get some political unifications. So what would be, in your mind, in your opinion, what the Berbers would like to have to, let's say, I wouldn't say a perfect life, what would be their ambition in terms of a way of living which would satisfy their major wishes?
Thank you for this question. I would like to underline that to say that the Berber do not have activists or local movement in North Africa is a wrong opinion, because the majority of the activists they were not tolerated by the different governments. I think to either Tunisia with Ben Ali or Algeria, or even Morocco under the King Hassan II, where all political leaders contesting, they were not accepted. So the solution was to immigrate and to have a different form of activism from the foreign countries. That is to call the diaspora. The Berber diaspora was really active, as I said, from the 1960 to nowadays. They are trying to defend the Berber identity. There is a need to show this identity and to confirm it. The occasion, l'occasion?
Occasion, yes.
Occasion?
Yes, yes, yes.
The occasion is the use, the opportunity. Yes, the opportunity is the use of the ICTs from foreign countries, but after the Arab Spring, there are many changes in North Africa that are palpable, concrete changes, and the Berber are confirming their own identity by protesting and having some political claims. The recent example is the use of the tifinagh, the language, as an important component of the Berber identity. They try to use it, to integrate it in the school, universities, and colleges. I know the case of Morocco because I live in Berber region, Agadir, and many changes. I think Anne-Marie have seen it recently. The simple name of the university must be in Arabic language and in Berber, tifinagh, tifinagh alphabet, despite the fact that the Berber alphabet is not used by the majority of the Berbers themselves. There is a work, and the Berbers want to confirm their identity. Activism, there are many works. A French author, Poussel, has published recently a very interesting book about the Berber activism in Morocco. Where we can see that political and identity searching is really present, especially in the universities area. Thank you. I hope that I haven't answered.
Hi, my name is Ted Pallas. I'm from Simon Fraser University in Canada. I'm particularly interested in the situation with indigenous peoples and the kind of diasporas that get created when they become refugee communities. So, Professor Abdallah, I'm particularly directing this to you, but I'm also interested with the Berber community. And you've been talking about within the community, the way that they use digital communication to communicate with one another, to communicate back to their original country. One of the things that we've been seeing more, and one country I'm particularly interested in, for example, is Ethiopia. There's a Human Rights Watch report that came out that talks about the other side, the government side, in terms of monitoring activity, and I wonder whether, I mean, to me it would be most similar to the situation you were talking about with Syria, more so than Lebanon, for example. And I'm wondering what kind of impacts you've been seeing, or if you have at all, in terms of when the community all of a sudden is perceived as a threat, and they're an activist community, now that we know as much as we do about some of the state responses to that in terms of monitoring and so forth, what kind of impact then you're seeing now within the communities themselves as that realization becomes more prevalent?
Yes. I answer. In the beginning, directly after when they left, they began to leave, they were active more than now because they were stopped, and all these activists on internet, I know many of them when they left, they were very active on internet, and there was opposition like this on it. Now they are afraid of, even they are pursued wherever they are. So they try to communicate in different ways now, and to make groups, but not undercovered, not to be recognized, because even if they are far away, they are pursued, and they can be assassinated or anything. So I know they are afraid, but especially they use it now to make these groups between themselves, communicate between themselves, and to know everyone where he is. You see, to repair themselves, the opposition and the others, because there are two leaving. Not only the opposition is leaving, the others are leaving too, because they don't want to stay there. So they make this. I don't know what will be the future of this, but it's playing a role, a very important role to approach, to assemble them in the outside their country. But the activism role is now a little bit decreasing, and it's not like before, like in the beginning, because some of them were arrested and were punished. Okay, thank you.
No, just a comment. I'm Liza Garcia from the Philippines. I'm so glad to find a workshop that deals with diaspora and the use of ICTs. I come from a country, a migrant-sending country, and in my country we talk a lot about economic diasporas, people migrating for work to earn a living. And we really have noted the many benefits of using ICTs among migrant communities. And I also sit in the board of one migrant NGO in my country. That's my other hat. So in the future, I would like to see more studies dealing with how migrant communities, how diaspora communities are using ICTs for their benefits, not just in how it affects their and changes their lives, the way they participate in their own communities. So I hope we can have more studies on that.
I have a PhD student working on it, on the economical effect of the ICT and the economic effect. I have now a PhD student. So when he will finish his thesis, I will give it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you.
Test. Okay. Hello, I'm listening from the Cook Islands in the South Pacific. I was interested in the session because its topic deals with communication with the diaspora. Our diaspora issuing our small and isolated islands is not due to any political situation or human intervention, but climate change is creating depopulation, so the use of the internet to connect the diaspora with their home islands help to keep contact with and maintaining their language and culture wherever they may be. Because of separation by great distances from their families on their home islands, the internet becomes a very important social enabler. To use Skype, Facebook, website, anything that supports communication.
Yes, Yes, of course, there are other reasons for immigration, and one of the reasons is the climate. When there is cold and there is a problem, difficulty to live, we leave, of course. She is right, and Skype and internet will help her to keep in touch with her family. Yes, she is right. There are, but the main reason for now for immigration are crisis and war and like this. But there are others, of course, and there are personal reasons for immigrate, of course. Okay. More? Okay. Thank you.
We can come back again, not the same, of course, this afternoon about 3 o'clock. 4? 3? 4 o'clock. And we have booth number 32 and 30. Second.
Thank you.
Please so and meet you again. Thank you.
Can you stay and take a picture? Can you stay and take a photo?
Oui. Reste assise, on va
Can
prendre
you
une
take
photo
a
peut-être.
photo? Je vous l'enverrai.
Ah, les tablettes. La preuve.
On y est.
C'est une bonne idée, non?
C'est facile.
C'est une bonne idée. Merci. Yes. C'est pas payant. Pour toi, c'est payant. Oui. Pas maintenant. L'après-midi. Les autographes l'après-midi.